Everyone, welcome back to a new Taekook. I have my favorite king. I hope you will love it. Your child is sure a feisty one, refusing to come out. An old woman said somehow what fondly she had helped birth just about half of the children of Korea and knew how painful the delivery procedures could get for the woman on the bed. After all, you had to push out a whole human being from your body, and way too often these poor women give up, some unable to bear the pain, others having too weak of a body and wasteland and pregnancy of being bathed. Just some moment more and she would have her child, little baby cuddling on her arms, but the little baby being after being grown up would wish that it hadn't come out of his mother's womb at all. Why? In the great royal palace, the king rushed back and forth in his room. His queen, his wife, the love of his life, watched him while being all full anxious herself. Tonight was the night of prophecy had spoken of. The legendary fortune teller of Korea had made announcement that on this fated night, the future fated queen of this currently 2 years old Prince Jeon Jungkook would be born. He had said that if the prince was not married to the fated queen, he would die in his young age itself. Prince Taekook was the only heir of Korea kingdom, and neither the kingdom nor the king nor the queen could even imagine losing their only heir. They would never be able to bear the loss, and so the decision had been made right in the courtroom. It was decided the girl born on this day would be marked as queen and would be wife of their prince. It was the last day of December. With happy breaths, they awaited the new life to come onto the world. A soldiers situated in the city center had informed them of a woman giving birth in the town, and the news has made them completely restless. Your Majesty, the woman has given birth. A relieved sigh escaped the queen as she stood up from her chair. She took off her pure diamond necklace and gave to the news carrier as a reward for telling her the good news. She was ecstatic. The time has finally come. The savior of her son's life had been born. Thank you so much, Her Majesty, the Queen. But I'm not sure for you being happy for the second news I have. There is a complication. The king, who had been happy till now that the birth was complete without any problem, was again surrounded by worry. What complication is she born with any disease? Will she not live long? Was she born premature? The king cried out, "Oh no, the health is not the issue at all. Actually, you see," he trailed off, not sure how to continue. "Oh, for God, love of God, speak up, young man, or else I'm going to faint out of worry," the king said hurriedly. "Yes, Majesty, the child born is a male." "Are you completely sure, young man, that no other woman gave birth today or is going to?" King asked skeptically. "How could the fated queen be a boy?" "No, Your Majesty, no other woman in the kingdom gave birth today. It's almost midnight, so any woman giving birth now would bear the baby in next day." The queen was already off to the woman's cottage to see the baby. She seems to accepted that the future queen of Korea was a male, as if it saved her son's life, then so it be. male or female. The chosen one was a savior. She did not care what the tradition or the rules are. The prince's life came first, but the king was still in doubt. The future teller has been requested to come to the palace to once so he could ease some of the king's worry. As soon as his appearance was announced, the king rushed out to dining in hall to greet him and hopefully get some news. Oh, my friend, is it ever so wonderful to see you? But today I need to clear my heart doubts. The famous future teller, quite famous, known as Jung Hoseok, with long black hair. I know what is your desire to ask, my king, but fear not. The fated one being born as a boy is not something to worry about. It is actually the least of your worries. It does not change the prophecy. The prophecy says that the child born on this day will save the prince's life, not that the queen had to be a female. The boy will still prove to be perfect soulmate for Prince Jungkook, but there has been never a male queen in history. How will my son ever have hear from him? There will be one. Now, in order to protect the prince, he needs to be married to the fated one, even if it is a boy. And about the hair, well, time will solve everything. Now you must go and celebrate the birth of the To Vkook. Of Korea fell in love with the little boy. As soon as she saw him, she just knew that he was the one for her precious son, the future king of the country. His mother had him in his lap and he was sleeping like an angel, his little face red from the exertion of crying, little tufts of brown hair on his head. When he momentarily opened his eyes to gaze around tiredly, the queen was amazed to see a shock of blue eyes holding all the secret of all. The handsome and husband and wife had been greatly surprised to see the queen at their home. What work could the queen possibly have with them? Mere commoners. They just hoped they hadn't done something to offend the royal person. The king decided to finally break the news to them. Mr. Kim, your child is no ordinary, which is why I have to rush out of the castle to see him. The young couple was baffled. Not one ordinary. What did she mean? Their child has been born with no abnormalities. He was healthy and fit, and the delivery has gone pretty well too. With a blessing of God, both child and mother were safe and sound. Worry began to creep up their bodies. I will explain from the very beginning. After the birth of our son, Prince Jungkook, a great future teller, has visited the country. He had been invited to the castle for the dinner. One night there, he told us to prophecy about our son and about the one who would save his life in the future. His queen, sorry to intrude, Your Majesty, but how does our son or be related to the prophecy? Surely you know we are just normal families of Tedos, Mr. Kim said. Oh dear, you doesn't need to call me with such formalities. Mr. Kim was about to say something, but the king held up hand to tell him to wait. I know you have many questions, young man, but here to answer all of them. So please let me continue and speak without interpret, of course, my queen, my pardon, please pardon my insolence. So the prophecy told of a child that would save Jungkook's life in future. In order to save his life, Jungkook has to be married to the fated one, and that's where your precious boy came in. The fated queen was supposed to be born on this very day, the last day of December. Ah, what a beautiful day of winter it is. Although we had been a little shocked to know that the queen had been born a male, but after seeing the child in person, I have no doubts at all. The queen looked at the bundle of joy handled in his mother's arm. Look at his beautiful blue eyes. Oh dear, I'm in love with him already. His eyes speak volume, even though his mouth still can't. Truly, the eyes of a warrior, and yet so kind. What a lovely child. The couple was utterly shocked. The father of the child blurted out, "My queen, are you saying that our newborn son is going to be future king of Korea? He is meant to be your son's mate. Do call me by my name? And yes, your son is the fated queen." After 18 years, Ma, I'm going to the bakery. 18 years old Kim Tae-han informed her mother, fixing his sandal before moving out, a basket in his hand. He'll walk out of the house humming a tune under his breath and waving to his brothers who were playing in the backyard. "Jimina, Jin Hyung, you want anything?" Jin is the adopted son of Kim's and elder than Taehyung. "A chocolate croissant, please," Jimin shouted. "And a macaron for me, Taehyungi," Jin added. "Right." Taehyung clenched, and his brothers had a notorious Taehyung had always been a shy one, hesitated to put up his point, timid in front of strangers, and sometimes even stuttered, but he argued that it was only a matter of who he felt comfortable with, and although he still got intimidated by unfamiliar things, he had definitely improved a lot since his childhood when he couldn't even introduce himself to the other kids in his family. He was the only shy child. His father treated him the kindest, and his mother scolded him. He was a happy child, and he loved smiling. His smile at kids and playing in the neighborhood. He smiled at flowers and that lined in pots. He smiled at the woman who came to visit him, and he especially loved smiling at boy from the bakery. Except he wasn't a child anymore. People in Korea are married off by 18. Taehyung suspected his parents were also looking for a bride for him. He blushed at the thought, pale skin heating up. If only he knew about his future. Taehyung sighed wistfully as he walked down the street to the bakery. He loved going to the particular bakery because his favorite person worked there. His childhood friend who had barged into his life at age of 10 proclaimed his place in Taehyung's heart and never left. One of the only people he felt most comfortable with. A little bell jingled as he opened the door of the bakery and walked in. The boy at the counter looked up, smiled brightly at him. Taehyung blushed again and waved a little. "Well, hello Taehyung, how are you? Fine this day?" The counter boy aged just tiny bit older than Taehyung, asked. Taehyung rolled his eyes and a little at the antics and said, I'm fine, Youngie Hyung. How are you? He asked politely, but besides his heart swollen up at the fellow boy smiled great. Now that I have seen your beautiful face, Youngie filled flirt openly. Oh, shut up, you young. Thanks, said, clenching a little. This usual place? Oh, and please add a chocolate croissant and macarons too. Of course, sweetheart. The baker turned around and grabbed a bag and some sweets. He started to wrap the dessert Thang had asked for. He then put 2 loaves of bread and the dessert into the bag, handing them over to the boy. Thank you. Only the best for you. Thank you. Thang smiled and his nose catches onto the heavenly aroma of fresh baked bread. He paid Youngie and bid farewell, giving a side smile as Thang went. Receiving a wink in return, he escaped down the street, his mood already on cloud nine. It was hard not to fall for Youngie. It was deadly. He was deadly handsome and paid Thang extra attention. In dreams world, Thang once Young and him would get married. They would own a bakery together. Young baking bread and dessert. Thang manage the counter. He would take Young's name too. Besides, maybe they could adopt some children of their own. In the idle world, no one would judge him for being this way he is. In the idle world, he will allow to love freely a boy. Walking through the hall, they called out, Emma, I'm home. In the kitchen, honey. His Emma called back. He carried his brother there. He was light as a feather. He disposed the boy on the dining table, handing Jimin the sweet treat and instructed him to share them with Jin Hyung too. Jimin ran off with a cry, clenched the bag for his life. Then they walked to his mother, having had the breakfast and held the bread. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, honey. Mrs. Kim, his mother said, accepting the basket. Did you buy them sweets again? No. Then his mother scolded. You will make them lose their teeth before they are even 20. They asked for it. How could I say no? Then whined with a mouth. My boy, you know I could never. You are way too easy to control. Mrs. Kim uttered. Maybe I should be making trip to the bakery instant you. No. Taehyung blurted out in alarm. I mean, you should rest your legs. Emma, you're not nearly as young as you know. Taehyung suggested nervously. He could not lose his daily errands to the bakery. This was his favorite part of the day. You know, you're calling me old. She waved the ladle at him threateningly. Also, a walk would be good for me. Yes, but Taehyung racked his brain for a brilliant reason. I love going to the bakery. The truth came out instant. His mother nodded understandingly. You love the sweet smell of bread, yes? Exactly, Taehyung nodded. Alright, I would hate to take that away from you. His mother voice was teasing. She turned back to the stove, dismissing him. She said, Listen, my love, your father and I have to talk to you this evening about something very important. Be downstairs on time At 5, Taekook's heart raced as he slowly walked upstairs, millions of questions running through his mind. What did his parents want to talk about? Had they already found a wife for him? Were they marrying him off so soon? Oh God, did they found out about his love for Young Hyun? How would they, though he had never even uttered it to himself before? For a secret like his, even the air around him and ears, please let it be the something else, anything but this. Please, God really did love him. Turns out it was about something else entirely. What is it, Emma? Appa? Taeyoung asked as soon as he walked downstairs. Is something wrong? His heart was full of fear about what they were going to tell him. Were they going to disown him? Come, thanks it, his mother said lovingly. It didn't look like it. That's ridiculous, mother. Me and the queen, Taeyoung exclaimed, clenching heartily. His parents looked at each other and sighed. The truth is, son, is the truth, son. His father spoke. He had remained quiet. Whole his wife had done the most of explaining, but he knew that to make his son believe it would take his word. His father never joked around after all. But just what? But I'm a boy. I can't possibly be the queen. Taeyoung squirted out, confused and bluffed beyond his belief. How could this be true? It sounds straight out of a click fairy tale, and an unrealistic one too, unless the prince was actually a woman. He failed to see how any of it could be true. Maybe it was a little joke they were playing on him before they kicked him out of the house. Maybe it was actually just dreaming, or maybe he had slipped on his way back home and entered in a new world where queens were male. All those scenarios make much more sense to Taeyoung than what his parents were sitting. But it has been in your fate since the day you were born. We are so sorry that we didn't tell you sooner, but now that you are at the age of marriage, the prince is waiting for his queen for you, Taeyoung. How did he go from being an ordinary boy to a queen of Korea? Everyone, this story is inspired from a story I have read. I hope you will love it, and whatever you feel about this, please tell me in the comment section. See you again. Bye bye.